Hey, Aaron, thanks for joining me. Very, very excited to talk to you with our fireside chat today. Well, fireside chat minus the fire, physically being next to each other and it being cold, at least where I live. Aaron, maybe can you give the audience a little background on who you are, what you do?
Yeah, totally. I'm founder of the SaaS Growth Hacks group on Facebook, and I'm also a founder of SaaS Accelerator, which is a 12-month coaching course for SaaS companies.
Awesome. Yeah. And for those of you guys who don't know, Aaron is the master of all things SaaS onboarding, growth, getting off the ground and making your customers better understand your product. That's what we know. So we're going to do a couple of videos together. We're going to talk through a couple of, I think, very important topics for SaaS businesses. In this video, we're going to talk about SaaS onboarding mistakes, right? So I think the best way to learn, instead of being told like, here's the things you should do, is like, let's learn from people's mistakes. Let's look at what people are doing right and wrong. So let's talk about the wrongs. Aaron, I'm putting you on the spot here. You can name companies. You could be nice.
All right.
I'm not going to be nice. I got my hat off and I'm gloves off and I'm ready to go. So mistakes. What do you think? What are like the biggest mistakes people make?
Oh man, the first biggest mistake that I see people making is building in a drip onboarding process for their email instead of a trigger-based onboarding process. That's like the number one mistake. When you do that, what happens is you're training your users to not open your emails because the emails that they're getting are not relevant to where they're at in the sign-up process. So if you've already connected your Google account in whatever tool and you get an email that says, hey, have you connected your Google account yet? Like, you should know that I connected my Google account. Like, you own the software, right? So The next email I get, I'm going to be less inclined to open it because it's like, it's not relevant to me. So having trigger-based emails is like so important. And there's like no excuse not to have, Lincoln Murphy says that there's no excuse not to have trigger-based onboarding emails now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a big one. I think even, I've made that mistake many times. And I think, so if you're doing drip-based emails, I'm assuming you have to make them less like instead of do this, more like helpful kind of broader stuff, which then makes it less valuable overall already.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So number one, drip-based, time-based instead of trigger-based. Very, very important. What else?
So the second thing that I see is this like problem with it. I'm talking specifically about emails because this is kind of how I started out. Obviously in onboarding, there's like, I have external and internal onboarding. So external onboarding is everything has to do outside of the product and internal has to do with inside the product. But for external specifically, dude, I see emails going out that have like 5 different calls to actions and they're just like jam-packed with all this stuff. And when your customer receives an email, like email is one of those things where it's just super easy to get bogged down really, really quickly. And so if you're not focused on getting your customer to take like a specific action, what happens is they'll go through the email and they'll see, if you have questions, check out our support page or reply here if you have questions, or check out our sweet a webinar that we have going on. And there's just like all these calls to action. Just strip it down to what is the one thing that you want your customers to do. Just focus on the one thing. And usually, especially during the onboarding process, it's the next necessary action that you need to get your customers to get to have success with the product. It's not like contact support or view this webinar. If you're doing trigger-based emails, you know that they've done steps 1, 2, and 3, and the next email they're going to get is to get them to take this next necessary action. And so your email should just like get rid of everything except the one thing that you want them to do in the process. So that's the second thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you, I've seen, as a user of many, many SaaS products, even the big guys, Microsoft, Adobe, they do it wrong. They do actually horrible. They're like the worst culprits in this thing.
They're the worst.
Like if you have a building question, do this. Like I signed up for like something from SAP like a while ago. They mailed me my receipts. I'm like, guys, who the heck mails a receipt? Maybe it's like whatever legal thing. Anyways, so one email, one action. And on top of that, one email, one action, the most important thing that they need to do at their stage. So Very, very powerful. Very, very easy also to make this mistake because frankly, you as a founder, as a marketer, you kind of want to like give everybody a lot of value. But I don't
Yeah.
know about you, but it's like if I want to lose weight and someone's like, okay, you got to go to the gym every day. You got to start eating healthy. I want you to cut out carbs, stop drinking. I want you to also go to sleep at 10 o'clock. And, like whatever other things, right? Like the things I just listed out, that's freaking hard. Like eating
Yeah.
right alone is like months of habit, right? So like
Yeah.
everyone's going to fail, right? Like this is an actual thing. But if I just said, hey, like, look, forget everything you know about weight loss. I just want you to stop. I want you to cut out rice and carbs at your last meal of the day. And then like you do that for a month and talk to me again. It reminds me of this book called The Goal. Have you read The book, The Goal?
No.
So it's
No.
this really awesome book. I can go on about it. You should read it. Viewers should read this. Ultimately, it's about any business and thinking through things as the goal. So this guy runs this like refinery, this old school built like they make physical products, and he has a problem. His business isn't working, and he's like, oh, my people are lazy, and he digs in and he solves that problem, and he's like, oh, actually, it wasn't my people were lazy. They're just waiting around for one other thing, and so like it turns out to be a series of problems hidden in the overall failure. But
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of like get somebody to do one thing and the most important thing, and then the other thing matters after that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think part of the misconception is, oh man, we only have our users' attention for like 10 seconds in this email. So let's just give them as much as we can because maybe they'll do one thing. But it's just overwhelming. Like you said, I like that analogy of the health coach. Let's get them to do one thing, get them a quick win, and let them feel like they're making progress. And then they'll build momentum, and then they'll start doing all the hard stuff if there's other stuff that needs to happen in the product. But once they get momentum and start to see quick wins, it's so much easier for them to have success with the product.
Yep. Awesome. What are some other mistakes you see?
Oh boy, the third one that I think is and this is just because we're all programmers and developers, like we're all just so proud of our technology that we just talk about our technology and like the features of all these great tools that we're building. But when it comes down to it, we're not selling a software, we're selling a solution to a problem. Like that, it just happens to be in software like this.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows, in 20 years, it might be virtual reality. But right now, it's a solution to a problem. So all the emails that go out shouldn't be focused on the cool feature that you developed or what features are coming out or getting them to take a specific action. It should all be focused around what is the benefit that they're going to get once they accomplish a specific action. So 80% should be focused on when you connect if you're tired of double bookings, we can help solve that for you. Like we'll make sure that you don't get double bookings, that you only get scheduled during the right times. And here's how you do that. Connect your Google Calendar. Boom.
Yep.
So now it's like, oh, I see why I'm doing this. And I want to get that benefit. So I'll take that specific action instead of go connect your Google account. It's time to connect your Google account, like a nagging, wife or something, go do this, go do that. Nobody wants to be nagged. But if they say, hey, have you considered doing this because it's going to help you do this? That's the nurturing kind of parent angle. So
yeah, also that's a really important point you made is like you lead with what the problem is, like the solution, and then you lead with then you end with the how to do it, right? Like the what people are trying to do is way more important than the how, and the what and the why, right? So like the why would be like, man, you're getting double bookings, you're losing out your time, you're spending way more time than you need to be. And then like the how to do it is after they're interested, they're compelled to go do the next thing. Super important. I would even add one more thing to what you said as a mistake. And I lumped this into this because it's people talk about themselves too much, right? Like I feel like every single freaking email I get from a SaaS company, it's all about like, look at all the cool things we did. Look at all these new features, right? It's like, well, I didn't give a crap about your features yesterday or the last email. I care less even now, right? Like, so I would say like, stop talking about yourself. Like, think about like, start talking about your customers. Like, and we have a rule actually at Mailshake we follow is like, we don't send new feature emails. We put them in the app, then you can read them. And we will lace new feature stuff throughout our marketing content, but it will not be a new feature email unless it's like a new product, like unless like we know everyone asking about it, and then it'll only go to customers, and it'll start with like, hey, you've been begging for the ability to do this so you can get more sales. Here's what we just did. Here's how you use it, right? But yeah, anyways, and maybe that's a little bit of a mistake anyway. So I'm super passionate about this, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Too many emails about this.
Yeah, totally. It's, and I don't mean this in a negative way necessarily. It's just the way that it is. It's so much easier just to send out, like we need to contact our customers. What are we going to say? Well, let's just tell them about, the new thing in our product. We care about it. They should care about it too. It's kind of like the lazy way to keep in touch with your audience.
Yeah.
But you're right. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about that unless they've expressed interest in it to begin with. So.
Yeah. The best analogy I have for this is a car, right? Like, I don't care about a car. I buy a car to drive. Talk about driving, and then talk about like a Porsche. Ultimate driving machine, or maybe that's BMW, either one, right? I should know this, I'm a car guy. But like they talk about like it is the ultimate driving machine, and then there's all these features that make it the best in class for the ultimate driving machine. But like they're not like, hey man, we released this all-wheel drive awesome system with more horsepower. They say like ultimate driving machine, and here's why.
Yeah.
And it paints them the picture of somebody, and there's always a video of a car driving in the back roads and that beautiful sunset. I've never had that. I always drive in traffic most of the time. Let's face it, right?
Yeah.
But that's what you think. So, I mean, do that. Learn from those guys. Learn from commercials.
People will take an action based on emotion, and they'll justify it with logic. And so we're so much emotion missing from our emails. Just put some emotion, tell them, hey, you have a pain, we can solve it. Here's how you do it. Like that's the basic formula.
So we actually did this thing and measured it so my company, Ramp Ventures, we buy a lot of companies. A lot of times we have to, not all the time, we have to fix things, right? We have to make things better or kill products, features, whatever. We bought this company 6-7 months ago called Right Inbox. It's a Gmail extension, productivity tool. And the previous email series, we're using Intercom. Previous email series was Dripbased, right? So not trigger-based. Number 2, it was a Dripbased based on all the features it had. It had like 5 features, right? And so like day 1, thanks for signing up. Here's a feature. Day 2 or day 3, thanks for signing, or like here's feature 3. First of all, I don't care about feature 3. I care about spending less time in my emails. Right. And so what we changed it to was education based. So we changed the whole thing and like, here's how you master email and spend less time. And it was like a 20-day email series over like 7 or 8 emails. And it was all about like how to spend less time on email and like productivity tip, like the Pomodoro technique and things like that. And like, oh, by the way, here's a feature that helps you do that, right? And so the how was laced into the emails. We saw a 23% increase in conversion rate just by doing that. So,
wow.
Like low hanging fruit. So I will urge everyone to do that. All right. Last one. I know I've been dragging on here.
Last one. So yeah, great question. So I would say, the next big thing that I see is onboarding, is that, and this is a pet peeve of mine, is your free trial is ending email. The reason this is because this email goes out to everyone, no matter if they've seen the value of the product or not. We build out sequences that are designed so that if the customer doesn't get to the value, or at least what we think the value is, nobody signed up for your service just because the trial is ending. Like that, nobody just is like, oh no, the trial is ending for this tool. I don't know what it does, but I need to sign up because my trial is ending. So the goal is to figure out, instead of their trial is ending, and there's exceptions for this rule as well. Like if the customer's using the tool actively, and you want to let them know their trial is ending. But if they haven't even used the tool yet and they've not been in there, the goal is to figure out why they haven't been in there. So we do a troubleshooting campaign, and the emails that go out to somebody who hasn't been in the tool and experimented with it yet are not like, time to sign up. It's, your time's running out. It's, hey, what happened? Like you signed up and like,
you didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything. Like what's going on? Because you want to figure out what are those objections and roadblocks that users are having that are stopping them from progressing, so that you can fix them. And then once you do that, you're going to see more conversions.
Love it. Yeah. And this is, so I think tracing this back, I think it's an old sales technique, right? It's a tried and true sales technique that is then marketed, like been like ported over to the marketing world.
Yeah.
Like no salesperson in their right mind, nor would it work, would say to somebody, hey, dude, you only got 1 day left to buy, if they've never shown any interest throughout the first part of the call. Or like they've had, let's say 5 calls to somebody, 2 or 5, they contacted somebody 5 times. 2 of those times they've actually picked up, right? So each email, let's say they didn't open it. And of those 2 times, one of them was like a good call. The second one was like, the guy was busy, short on time, hadn't used the product yet. And then like now your 5th call, you're like, hey dude, your trial is going to run out. You need to buy today. And the guy's like, what did I sign up for again? Who are you again? Like, I forgot, right? So you would never sell somebody that pressure over the phone. So I think
exactly.
Think about your emails as if you're having a conversation with somebody over the phone, enterprise sales, old school. What would you say to somebody who's interested, not interested, or you want to get them interested? And that to me is how I frame my emails. Yeah,
that's exactly right. You might have, 700 people on your trial, but it's not one email to 700 people. It's one email to each individual one of those 700, right? Like you need to speak and have a conversation with them. And that's one thing that we forget in emails. For some reason, when we get in this email mode, we're like, all right, hey guys, we're here. Check it out. Love y'all. Bye. Like the YouTube thing, but you're talking to a specific person like, hey Joe, we know you signed up. Like what happened? ? That's it. Like that's the email, and those, you will be so surprised if the shorter your email is, the more conversational it is, how much response you get and the stuff you find out from customers.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Aaron. You guys heard it here. Mistakes people make, don't make them. And stay tuned for the next video because we're going to talk about the right process so you don't make these mistakes.